Okay, so we're just going to get right into it. How do you help somebody who doesn't want help? So maybe you are new to spirituality, you've been meditating, you found great peace. Maybe you've just figured out something that has really helped you and you're doing great, things are going well, and there are people in your life that you want to share this with. And this question came from someone on Instagram, and they were asking, how do you help somebody who doesn't want help, who doesn't think that there's a problem? Um, and it's difficult because, you might have discovered something that just makes your life so much easier, so much nicer. You're really enjoying the moment. You're living in the present. There's lots of these things. There's a million different situations where you want to help somebody and they're just not interested. So it's a frustrating question, and it's potentially one of the most frustrating things for somebody who has developed some spirituality or some mindfulness, or maybe you've just like found something that you really love and you're trying to share it with people and they are not interested. So let's talk about it. I think the first thing you kind of have to realize is that you can't, you know, as much as we want to help those around us feel grounded and safe and happy and fulfilled, you can't make anybody do anything. It goes back to the idea of life is uncontrollable. Nothing is permanent. Everything is constantly in this state of change, in flux, in growth, in death, in life, in rebirth. And we don't have any control, like that's kind of one of the fundamental things of mindfulness and being in the present, is that as much as we wish, we do not have the control that we'd like to. So I think that's the first thing. So yeah, great, we can end the video now. You can't. Sorry, you can't help people. But no, I don't know. I've been researching this question because the person who asked it is a very dear friend, and they're just frustrated with a close family member who just doesn't want to help themselves, and it is frustrating, especially for someone like me who feels very positive and has a very strong outlook on life. And then, I have people in my life who are very pessimistic and very sort of down in the doldrums. They're down in the dumps. They're feeling bad. And it's like kind of, you just want to like jump into them and just try and turn everything around, which is, wrong on so many levels and just doesn't work. But what you can do is you can control how you interact with this person. You can continue living your life in accordance with what you think is right and how you want to be. And you can give them space and give them the opportunity to see how fulfilled and how happy you are. And that sounds kind of a bit shallow, but you need to live your life as though, you're the only one living it, and you're not living it for the benefit of other people. You're living it for yourself. And if those people in your life decide, you know what, like Jax has really got like, he's really happy, maybe I should look into this or ask him what's going on. And in that case, then you can sort of begin to embrace and really get them to see. But in the short term, there really is no way that you can help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. If they're not open to reading the correct books, or going to the gym, getting some exercise, going for a walk, eating healthy, drinking more water, if they're not open to some of these very basic concepts, and they're happy to sleep in super late and then check their phone right as soon as they wake up and just get all frustrated and read the news and get like so worried about what's going on or halfway across the world, you can't do much about that. You have to live your life in accordance with how you want to live. And hopefully just you living like that will give those people an opportunity to see that actually it's not that bad and the world's getting good, and you can embrace the positivity and embrace the change and go with the flow. But I will say it is very frustrating to watch somebody that you love continually do things that are detrimental to their health. And, I'm certainly not one to judge anybody for their choices, and I try and be very mindful about letting people decide. And like, it's their life, it's their choice. But I know where this question comes from, and I know that it comes from a place of love, and you want people in your life to feel fulfilled and positive and happy. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot that can be said about helping someone who's just not interested, who's not receptive to it. I would suggest other things you can do is you can give them the material that helped you. So, for example, the Tao Te Ching is a book that I found incredibly helpful, very mindful, sort of changing my life constantly. And I'm constantly going back and reading it. And I have probably like 6 or 7 copies of it. And I've given it to friends who have asked me about it. They've said, you're so positive. Like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, well, I've read this book and it's been incredibly helpful to me. And so I've loaned books out. I've given books as gifts. I try and have this positive outlook, and I'm very receptive to people who are asking the questions, because if someone in your life is asking questions about, how are you so happy? Like, how are you positive? Like, what's going on? That's like the first step in being open to helping people and being that positivity. But I think the other way that you can influence people is just by passively being you and living your life and being who you want to be. Because yeah, you can't jump into somebody's life, into the driver's seat, and steer them on a different course. There's anecdotes and there's pieces of advice from cultures all over the world. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. There are stories going back thousands of years of humans being frustrated with trying to help somebody who's not interested in being helped. And, it's an eternally frustrating thing, especially if you are a type A personality or if you have a certain drive or motivation and the people around you don't have that motivation. They're not interested in that. And that's okay. The only time that becomes an issue is if you surround yourself or you are surrounded by people who are negative and are bringing you down and are telling you that your passions and your interests are stupid or dumb, and why are you doing that? Like, just sleep in for once. Like, why don't you just take a chill pill? In that case, you really don't want to engage with those people if you can help it. I know sometimes, like, obviously you don't have a choice if it's a close family member or if it's someone you live with. But I would say, like, the best advice you can have, like, how do you help somebody who can't help themselves or doesn't want to help themselves, is you have to decide really if you want to help, because some people don't want the help, and you can ruin relationships that way by constantly like nagging and sort of being an oppressive force in their life, and that can actually steer them the wrong way, and turn them into sort of an enemy of positivity. I remember a few years ago, I tried to convince a friend to read Game of Thrones when I was super into Game of Thrones. And my constant nagging has made this person hate Game of Thrones. And she absolutely refuses to read it. She's not interested in it. She was never interested in the television show. And like, neither was I. But my emphasis completely turned her off of it. And I completely accept that, like, I was this stupid kid just being like, you have to read it. It's the best book ever. I have since found books that I enjoy more, but it's a good example, you cannot force anything. Forcing anything in any situation usually ends up to be not what you expected. So I don't know. I'm sorry if this video isn't super helpful in certain terms. Like, it's not giving you definitive how you can help somebody who doesn't want help. Like, oh, you do this, or you kidnap them and throw them in the basement and you force them to watch all the material that is going to help them and save them, No, like, I'm sorry. Like, you can't help people. But I think by accepting that you can't help people, you allow yourself just to live your life. And if they see you as a figure of inspiration or motivation, then you're helping them. But like the saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink. So yeah, I know, but it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. Like it blows my mind how it's like, I just want to help you. Like I'm just trying to like help you live in the present and enjoy every moment and be positive and see that the world is, you know, a beautiful place to exist in. But it doesn't work that way. So yeah. It's frustrating. I get it, guys. I really do. Your comments and your questions are not on deaf ears. It's probably one of the biggest things that I struggle with is just, you got to let people be who they want to be and do what they want to do. So guys, I'm interested in your comments. This is a good one. It's a frustrating topic, so I'm definitely interested in your opinions. Let me know like a story or something, like my Game of Thrones thing where my friend just refuses to acknowledge it. And like, I'm over it now, but like every now and then I'm just like, I can't believe she never read it. She never tried it. She never even tried the first chapter, you know? I'm like, dang it. But let me know your stories like that. I love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow.